Good morning. Remember the other day when I made some strawberry rhubarb pie and I put the crust away in the fridge and I divided the crust up into 3 pieces. And we're going to reuse, we're going to use it today. I'm going to make some butter tarts. Now sometimes it's been cold, so hopefully you keep it out at room temperature just for a bit so you can work with it. And we roll it exactly the same as we do the pie crust. We cut them up into tart tins. So it's a relatively quicker way if you make your crust ahead of time, because tarts take a bit of a time. You're cutting them up individually. Then you got to roll them, cut them. And so I have a recipe here that I'm hoping will make at least a dozen, if not more. I'm going to try and go for 24. It depends on how much crust I have. And then times when if you have more crust and you do filling, you can always make jam tarts or whatever else, or other fruit tarts, lemon, anything your heart desires. So I'm going to show you my trusty cutter here, and I've been using this cutter for decades. May not be the same one, but it's a large tomato can. It seems to be the perfect size that works with my tart tins. So they work. Use what works. Sometimes you can go out and buy pastry cutters of various shapes and sizes. I usually use those for cookies. And tomorrow I'm going to see some of my grandchildren, and they just love butter tarts. I'm not sure if you realize that butter tarts are one of the Canadian recipes that have been around for a very long time, and everybody loves butter tarts. And of course the judge is still out on whether or not butter tarts have to have raisins or not raisins or pecans. Today's recipe is going to have raisins because I love my butter tarts with raisins. So as you can see, I'm just cutting these up, and we'll see where we go. We'll continue to move along. It's 2, 4, 6 already. It's not too bad. So it looks like we will have enough crust, since I had 3 equal pieces, to make 24 tarts, if not some more. And you just take your cut-offs and mix it with the next ball. So I'm going to continue on with these, and then we'll get back with the actual filling recipe in just a second. Okay, now for the filling, we have a cup of brown sugar, a half a cup of salted butter. I use salted butter. If you don't use salted butter, you can use unsalted butter, and it'll work just as fine. I love cinnamon in my butter tarts, so we have. And by the way, the butter is melted. It just makes it a lot easier to mix up. And a tablespoon of cinnamon. Lots of cinnamon. And here, this is a little bit something different that I'm doing, is a tablespoon, actually 2 tablespoons of homemade maple syrup. The syrup has come from a friend of ours down on Manitoulin Island, and he has a little hobby farm of maple trees and makes maple syrup and sends them up to those of us who don't have maple trees around here. We have birch trees. So as you can see, it's getting very, very dark. It's because of the cinnamon, the maple syrup. I'm also going to put a tablespoon of vanilla in here. Occasionally I will put some condensed evaporated milk, but I'm not going to sure if I'm going to do this today. It'll all depends on the texture. Now I'm adding a tablespoon of vinegar. Vinegar will help the sugar not to crystallize as you're cooking it. So you won't taste it, but it'll be great. With that, as you can see, it's a very liquidy, but to thicken it, we're going to add 2 eggs. 2 nice eggs there. We'll beat them up a bit. Some people say that you should only use a hand whisk in your butter tarts, and I have in the past used an electric mixer, and I may continue to use an electric mixer because I like it when they're nice and fluffy and very, very wholesome. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to whip these up a little more with the mixer, and we'll see how that'll work out. I'm going to go with the double barrel here. Not just use one, but I'll use both beaters. I'm going to shut you off for a while so that we don't have to hear this. Okay, so we've got it. If you notice, it's nice and little thicker. It'll hold together. Next, we're going to add 1 cup of raisins, and nice plumpy raisins. I sometimes add the raisins just to the bottom of each of the cups, but in this case here, we're just going to go with mixing them right in. And we hope that everyone gets the same amount of share of raisins. Get rid of that. Let's bring over a tray, and we shall put the pastry into the cup. Into the muffin tins. I'm not sure, some people call these muffin tins, some people call them tart tins. I use them for everything, including cooking eggs if there was a big crowd, which you could just spray with Pam and or oil and stick in eggs, and you've got individualized eggs all pre-cooked, and they do come out really nice. Got to bring my spoon. So we are going to also preheat the oven to 350. And these take about a spoon and a bit. I usually fill them up about halfway, so we'll do that. Looks like I will have enough filling for 24 tarts, and they will probably cook for about 20 minutes in the 350 oven, and then we'll leave them from there. So this is the start of them. I'll be back and show you the finished product before it goes into the oven. Okay, I'm done filling the tarts, and so I had enough for 24. I managed to stretch the pastry a little bit. As you can see, some of them were getting a little thinner than the others. That's okay. So we will stick them in the oven at 350 for, I'm gonna go with 20 minutes for now, and we'll check them. every oven is different, but I usually cook mine for about 20 minutes. So I'm going to set it for 20 minutes. On the middle rack, which is not in yet. Wasn't quite on the middle. So in you go, and let's see what you do. Trick is, once some ovens get hotter than others, and in order to prevent your butter tarts from boiling over, you have to sort of keep an eye on them. Some people will recommend that you put them in at 200 degrees for a little while, for the first 10 minutes, and then turn it up to 350 and cook it the balance. What I find works for me is I check it after about 10 minutes, and I open the door if they are boiling over, and it cools the oven down, because the oven automatically shuts off when the door is open, so it's no longer cooking. So we shall hopefully have success in these butter tarts, and when they're all cooked, I will be back and show you the end result. For now, they're gone into the oven, and what I'll do is I'll just keep an eye on them. Till later. Bye. Okay, we have the butter tarts out of the oven. They have been sitting for about 5 minutes. I like to let them sit in the pan. A little bit easier to get out, so that we can not have to break all the shells, etc. If you try to take them out when they're too hot or fresh out of the oven, that's basically what happens, is the shells get all broken. So we'll see how we can get these out. We may need to leave them in the pan a little bit longer. We'll check. I just use a regular table knife, and as you can see, some of these have boiled over a little bit. I wasn't too cautious, but they do come out nice and easy. Nice and golden brown on the bottom. There's a few that have a little bit added to the end, and we have to break those. My daughter's coming over because I said I was making butter tarts. I made pies the other day, and I said she wasn't getting a pie if she didn't show up, and she didn't, so in the freezer it went. But she'll obviously score some butter tarts. So if you enjoyed this recipe, I encourage you to try it. It's just delicious, and it smells delicious in here, so enjoy. And I have a whole lot of work to do. I got to make burgers, so we make our own burgers for the barbecue, grilling, etc. And that takes a little bit of work, and then I freeze them and wrap them individually so they're ready and quickly. Have a good day. Until next time, bye-bye.
Our Tibet Adventures tries to show retired people other ways to have fun. Fishing in wild lakes, cooking things that you've never cooked before. We have a wide variety of topics. And I would really appreciate it if you would subscribe to help me build my channel. Because the more subscribers I have, the more people I can reach, and maybe they'll enjoy the videos also. So, have a nice day.